Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling them wrong.
Hello and welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. I'm Sav. Welcome to Sav's Place. I'm Sav and you're not, but that's okay. You're who you are. You're infinite awareness, having a human experience on this beautiful flat plane of existence. We live in this world of perpetual deceit and inversion. Living in the upside down, where up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black. Everything is purported to be the opposite of what it really is. We've got child protective services that put children in danger. We've got educational systems that destroy the foundation of knowledge. We have religious institutions that destroy the soul and the spirit. We've got everything. The healthcare system destroys health. It's anything but that. So there we are in a world of inversion. Everything they tell us is the opposite of what it actually is in reality. They tell us we're on a little ball of water spinning through the cosmos at phenomenal breakneck speeds, and it's the opposite of that. They tell us the sun is a huge ball of burning gas, 836,000 miles in diameter, 93 million miles away, and it's not. It's rather small. It's rather close. It seems to be just as the Bible says, at least for now, because as we know, our reality is changing. Even as we speak, our reality is changing. What do I mean by that? And it's what some people refer to, well, everybody refers to as the Mandela effect. Some of you may be familiar with it. Some of you may not. Everyone has been affected, though. Everyone has been affected. There's changes in scripture that have become, well, I would have to say blasphemous. In Luke 19:27 now has Jesus telling people to bring his enemies before his feet and slay them. I don't remember Jesus ever talking that way. Exodus saying where God's name is jealous. We've got brand names that are changing. Movies, iconic scenes in movies that have become something other than what they were from what we remember them to be. One of the most obvious is in the franchise movies of Star Wars. We've got C3PO, who's now missing his golden, he's missing his golden calf. He now has a silver calf on his leg. And as many remember, he was all completely silver or completely gold at one time. And now he's not. So we're also waiting for Burn the Corporate Fiction. He's going to join us tonight. I sent him the link and he messaged me back and said, oh, he's waiting for his computer to finish updating. He says it figures it would pick now to decide to do an update. And that's par for the course. They want to hit you with that. Do not touch this shit for, 3 or 4 days. And while we slowly upload and don't do anything, if you touch something, you'll fuck up your computer. You're done with your update. Do you notice that it's probably working a million times better? All those problems you were having before are now gone because of the update, right?
I just told Michelle every time I turn on this computer, I want to punch Bill Gates in his stupid fucking face every single time.
You can turn those off. I did that on this to where you can have it not do automatic updates and you go and check for updates yourself. It'll tell you there's one available and you can opt as to whether to go to it and update or not. I chose to do that on this one because I've run into that same thing. It's Murphy's Law. No matter, it's going to be the worst time. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and at the worst possible fucking moment. Like, hey, we're getting ready. Like the other night, okay, I was going to do my first dual stream like I'm doing tonight because we're over on Rumble. For those of you that don't know, we're over on Rumble, and I have the link is in the description, but YouTube's a bunch of bitches and won't make it a hyperlink, so you have to copy and paste it into your browser. Subscribe to me over there. A lot of you might want to check it out. A lot of creators are going over to Rumble. We're allowed to talk about shit that we're not allowed to talk about over here. You don't have to use all our little censor words like we use the jibby jab and we talk about the plague and we try to use all these words and shit because of their stupid little algorithms wanting to kick you off the fucking thing. So we're going to get started here and talk about some shit. And then when we really start to get into it, because we're going to talk about events from the last 3 years, and that's almost impossible to talk about here on YouTube.
That's better.
I've talked to people that went and investigated the places you saw in the news and the things that they saw as compared to what was on the news. Not even close. Not even fucking close, man. They're running a psyop on us on everything. I mean, from the very most fundamental lie that they've brainwashed everybody with, making you think you live on a ball of water hurtling through the fucking cosmos. That's the foundational lie. And if they can make you believe that shit, they can make you believe anything. And they really have. I mean, nobody's got any logical, critical thinking at all anymore. The first thing they do, they don't know anything. They appeal to authority. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, you don't believe me? Check Wiki. Oh, yeah, if you don't believe me, check Google. And I'm like, you stupid fuckers, those are the very people that are doing this controlled bullshit.
I remember I watched an interview with the CEO of Google, and he said they were like, oh, Google's, pretty much a perfect search. I can't remember what the reporter said, something about how great Google was. And he was like, actually, believe it or not, Google has a lot of bugs still. And they're like, what? Really? Google has bugs? He's like, yeah, for instance, when you go and you search something in the search bar, you get a bunch of different answers to your question. See, that's a bug. We're trying to fix it so that when you ask Google a question, you get one answer. That doesn't sound like a bug. That sounds like censorship.
Exactly. Let me tell you about the days of YouTube when it was cool, before Google bought YouTube. Okay. Every time, and this is what I've said, every time something gets bigger, it gets worse. Walmart's a good instance of that. When it was when it started out, it was a good thing. And then now that it's this big, huge behemoth, it's just a fucking nightmare. Government is the same way. And we see this anytime something gets huge. Back in the day, you could go on there. Nothing was censored. You could go on there and watch the documentary, like The Greatest Story Never Told. and people would get bent out of shape about it. Sure. But that's your right to go ahead and get bent out of shape. They didn't censor it. And another thing too, you could watch like one video and then one that's very similar or about the same thing that you're watching would come up for the next one, not just a random video. And since Google bought it, it's become shit. And I mean, so much so that everybody realizes what a shitty platform this has become, that Rumble is actually running ads on YouTube about how shitty YouTube is and they should come over to Rumble.
I see YouTube, it's got a lot of people by the golden handcuffs that actually try to make a living off YouTube. That's a big thing. So that's why YouTube makes it, their monetization and policies, everything streamlined so that people become dependent on YouTube as a source of income. Then they got them by the balls because people don't want to get their channels shot down. Right. So,
right. And so you start, like I said, you start self-censoring. People have gotten through the community. And then in order to even say any little bit of utterance about an important subject, you have to censor your words. You have to use euphemisms. I've seen it like where Jim Brewer, he doesn't even say jibby jab or nothing. He just goes, yeah. And I mean, that's terrible. That's terrible.
He doesn't really censor himself though. His shit is
not really. He's too big. He's too big.
Shit's wide open. The shit he talked about, the football players and everything. But the thing is the corporations, man. When things become corporate, they lose their soul. That's actually what corporate is by definition, is a corpse. It's a soulless behemoth, Every time I leave Meijer or anywhere, I know you don't have Meijer down there. You guys have like Food Lion and shit, but
yeah, I remember Meijer. Meijer is kind of like it's almost like Walmart.
Right. So every time I leave Meijer, it's like, thank you for shopping at Meijer. And I'm like, no, thank you for being a parasitic corporation that destroyed all the small businesses, leaving me no choice but to shop at Meijer. Yep. You fuck. Yep. And that's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? They're awful. And the goal of every corporation is to increase profit and decrease overhead. So they want to make as much shit for as cheap as possible and charge as much as they can for it, and sacrificing quality. And you know what I mean? It's just, corporations are the worst fucking thing on the planet.
Well, and here's another advantage too. I'm going to show you something. So this is us over on Rumble right now. Okay. I'm going to just share that screen right here. And now on YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can get any kind of monetization. That includes super chats or anything else like that, right? I don't have but 27 followers on YouTube right now. Okay. But if you look over here, you see that little dollar sign next to the chat?
Look, we're going to go into a black hole.
I know, it's pretty cool. But over here, right here, it's this little thing. You can send a super chat through Rumble. You see, through that chat. And I've only got 27 subscribers. They don't have me limited down.
This is pretty cool. It's like a hallway.
No, I know. And
keep going.
It keeps adding to it too.
There we go. Here's another one. That's pretty cool.
That's because of the delay. The delay's delay. That's fucking crazy. It's tripping me out. But so on YouTube you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you can monetize. And then like super chats, they take 40% of those. 40%. Like if somebody sends you $1 super chat, get
that is the IRS.
No, that's before that. That's even before the IRS. That's YouTube's cut.
No, I'm saying they take 40%, then the IRS takes 33%. Well, you got 73% of your money gone right there if you pay everybody you're supposed to, right? Or they say you're supposed to. It's extortion.
And so basically they're making money off of their creators. And it's very obvious when the creators do talk about edgy subjects. Now, I'm not saying come on and, have a mantra about, this group of people should be eliminated from the earth and shit like that, No, because that I can see where that would be a problem.
Ease up, Z.
Yeah, right. So I could see where that's being a problem. I mean, even if you're talking about even some kind of an ethnic group, I could see where that would be a sensitive kind of a subject like that. But to claim that you're giving medical misinformation when you're merely giving your opinion on experimental medical procedures, and the people that are cutting you, the people that are punishing you for medical misinformation are not medical fucking experts either.
No, they push a political agenda.
So it's like, wait a second, how are you authorized to be snuffing anybody on here if you're not a medical professional either? Do you have doctors that work in your censoring department? You know, that's just ridiculous. And so what they've done is they've cut their own goddamn throats, because the creators that did have the content and do have the content that people really want to see are just teasing people over here at YouTube and then saying, you want to see the real shit? Come on over to Rumble. And like Stu Peters and Brian Knowles, and there's a few that even John Smith, that guy that has that channel that does the Bible Mandela effects. I mean, how could he offend anybody? The dude is a total Christian, and he's pointing out a Mandela effects in the Bible and shit, and they're giving him crap.
The truth offends people, man.
It does. In the Empire of Lies, telling the truth is an act of treason.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we're at. And I was pointing that out to somebody, what you told the other night, where you said that it was, if you didn't believe in God, you couldn't hold office because you couldn't swear the oath.
Nope.
You know, and that makes sense. But look, take a look at these heathen fucks that we've had in there ever since.
You couldn't testify. You couldn't do anything that required an oath.
No.
Of honesty. You know, because your obligation, your oath could not be, you couldn't be held to it because you don't believe in anything. You know what I mean? So you'd be like, oh yeah, sure, I swear to whatever, right? Sure.
Well, let's take a look at like my stream the other night that got cut that I was doing, the one I got in trouble for 2 weeks ago for discussing the events in Nashville. Okay. Now, this did involve a controversial character, I would say, because of the fact that it was a trans person, a transformer. Okay. A Decepticon. Okay. So this thing involved a Decepticon, but they struck me for hate speech. Now, wait a second. God forbid I should say something negative about somebody who just shot a bunch of kids in a fucking school, right?
Dude, have you seen the real, like the actual mainstream? I almost call it the real news, the fake fucking mainstream news, right? They're like literally more concerned about using the proper pronouns for this, regardless of what you think about whether it happened or whatever, right?
Right.
They care more about, let's operate under the assumption that this is a tragedy, right? They care more about using the proper pronouns for the fucker that just shot 3 kids and 3 adults.
Don't misgender this monster. What the fuck?
And then I watched one Catholic priest compared this fucking tranny to Jesus. I'm serious. Said that she's being persecuted, right? And that's what the mainstream, transgenders are under fire and under attack, dude. It's insane. It's like bizarro world. I don't even know how the fuck, but I will tell you this. It is heartening to see what's going on with the Bud Light thing. You know, I mean, people are learning how to vote with their money, right? If you fuck talking about it, stop. They rely on your money. Stop buying shit, dude. Their stocks and their sales have plummeted. Nobody's buying. Bars can't even give the shit away.
I understand the outrage. Okay. I do. And I understand the boycotting of it. But I've seen these videos of people taking cases of beer and running over them with their truck and shooting them with a fucking machine gun or whatever the fuck else, right?
That's
just destroying all this. And I'm thinking to myself,
yeah.
A smart man would roll down to the gay part of town and just unload those fuckers at a discount or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not into them, but I'm sure down there in La La Land where
but that's what made it an even more ridiculous marketing strategy. Gay people, I mean, I'm not going to presume to know what all gay people do, but generally you don't see gay people drinking Bud Light.
No, it's White Claw.
Lesbians probably drink Bud Light, right? I mean, you got that, but
I mean, look, It was shitty beer to start with. Okay, I haven't drank in 12 years, but Bud Light is shitty fucking beer to begin with. You know,
I seen one guy go. He said everybody's all pissed off about the tranny on the Bud Light can. He's like, but if you're drinking Bud Light, you're halfway there already, man.
Right.
Pretty funny.
And now I guess Jack Daniels, they're marketing their they have a knockoff of Fireball, and they're having that being promoted by RuPaul and the drag races.
Yeah, I seen that.
And it's like, oh my God, now they got Jack and Jill.
Well, it's like they're committing brand suicide, though. It's like, do you know what your demographic is, man? Do you understand? Like when Kid Rock took the machine gun and shot the Bud Light, Kid Rock is your demographic. Like that is the model demographic for a Bud Light Jack Daniel drinker. He's gonna listen to Kid Rock while he drinks his Bud Light and Jack Daniels. You know what I mean? Like that's
okay. It was bad enough. Okay, so I don't know if you followed much of the history of this Dylan Mulvaney character, right?
Oh yeah, I've seen more than I would like to of that fucker on my feed.
Well, I mean, you go back with what he was doing. Okay, first he started going on with this Days of Girlhood, you know, and he acts like he's an adolescent little girl or something.
Michelle wants to punch him in his fucking nose. Especially when he said he was having a period. Dude, like Michelle, my wife, literally got pissed off. Like, oh, that motherfucker wants to be a woman, huh? He thinks he wants this shit. I will fucking punch him right now. I'll kick him in his balls, she said. It was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Well, I mean, I don't get it, but I can imagine.
He's sponsored by Tampax.
I don't get it. I don't understand that.
And they got videos of him like going in the women's room and passing out tampons to women.
And women called him creepy. They said that's the creepiest shit we've seen anybody do in a long time. And you made video like women are calling him out on that.
Yeah. And, you know,
I think they paint it the best when they say like, dude, literally they're doing it's like the equivalent of doing blackface. You're like dressing up like of what you think your idea of a woman is, and you end up being a prepubescent girl woman thing, right? And it's like a mockery of womanhood. You know what I mean? You're going to see
it'd be like having Al Jolson do a commercial for fucking Afro Sheen.
Right.
Yeah.
What the hell would you know about? Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, day 365 of womanhood. Like you can just choose like what that's how you know like we're at a threshold breaking point, because you can literally just decide what you want to identify as based on how you feel at the time. You know what I mean? Like right now, I feel like a stapler, right? So you have to acknowledge that, and you have to address me as a stapler.
Well, I feel like a senior citizen. Give me my fucking Social Security. No, better yet, I feel like a lottery winner. I identify as the grand prize winner, and I want you to bring me my big check.
Right? Yeah. I want. Absolutely. I identify as a rich man, so you need to treat me as such, right? Like it's insane, dude. And it's and their arguments do not hold up under any scrutiny. Like they can't defend like what they're trying, like the What is a Woman? Just that documentary was awesome, right? And he just goes around, he goes, hold on, let's just take it's like what we do with the globe argument, say just show me curvature. Let's just take it to its simple, fucking it's fundamental, right? So what is a woman? Right. Well, anybody who identifies as a woman. Okay, but what is that? You can't use the word you're defining in the definition. So what is a woman? Well, it's, you know, anybody who, and then they just get caught up because you know what I mean? Like you can't.
Did you see the recent, it was Matt Walsh.
Yeah, I watched that. That's this documentary.
Did you see that where that woman that was an EMT came out and he asked her or him or what? I don't know, whatever. I'm not trying to misgender
anybody. Yes, I did
anybody.
see that one, yeah.
And threw her for a loop, big time. You know, and he said, so you rely on other people's opinion as to whether or not you're a woman
to validate, validate yourself, And he's like, well, I'm going to trust the people around me that if they tell me I'm a woman, then I'm a woman. Like, what if the people around you tell you you're a fucking unicorn?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That goes right to the whole story. Remember the story of the king's new clothes,
Chuck,
right?
Good evening, Chuck.
And the story of the emperor in his new clothes, and his new clothes were invisible, but all he couldn't see him because his eyes were so royal, but everyone else was able to see him. And all his advisors and shit pretended like they could see it and shit because they didn't want to piss off the king. You see, but then when he went through town, he was buck ass naked, and everybody laughed at him because they didn't see his shit. See. Only the people around you are going to play fucking make believe, and half of those, when you leave, are going to go, "Can you believe that crazy motherfucker?"
Dude, I don't understand like what kind of society we live in where we're like not only like we're cultivating this mental illness. We're not only accepting the mental illness, we're cultivating it. We're encouraging. I mean, in the worst place is the school system right now. I like what they're doing to kids. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is a gender safe space. Dude, they're 5. What do you mean gender safe? Why would you even bring that up? Do you know what I mean? Well, I want them to feel comfortable coming to me if they want to tell me that they feel like they're a different genders. Dude, that's not even shit that they should be thinking about. And if they are thinking about it, you need to fucking investigate their home life, because that's not something that the 5-year-old, you know what I mean? It's like, girls have cooties, boys only type shit, right? It's nuts, dude. And the whole thing is it's the culmination of a communist psychological operation that began back during the Cold War and has come to Mikhail Gorbachev has said it, right? There's been several KGB operatives. The one guy that was a former KGB operative came out and said, we've infiltrated all your universities and your public education systems, and we're just going to successively indoctrinate each generation, you know what I mean, until you guys end up being a bunch of emasculated pussies, which is where we're at now. Dude, I seen a guy go in and talk to it was like Ben Shapiro, one of those guys. The guy was wearing a communist flag as a cape. And then sitting there calling Ben Shapiro or whoever it was a fascist, and he's got a communist cape on. Like, they literally
that's the one. Listen, they have been running that type of a thing for years. See, this has been years in the making. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just pointing at your. I don't think that's entirely accurate, but it's. I was watching a thing on that. It's actually, the thing is man back in the day referred to either gender, because man is mankind.
Right.
You know what I mean, woman is a relatively new.
Well, it comes from womb man with womb, because we are the race of man. That's where that originally comes from.
Yeah, I was watching this thing on etymology where there was like, it goes even deeper than that. It wasn't necessarily the one. That is one. They don't know where it comes from ultimately. That's one theory. You know what I mean? It could be.
It might be a Mandela effect that everybody just accepts now. You know what I mean?
It could be.
Dude, I was thinking about that last night. I was like, well, what if, we're noticing some of these changes, and there's a lot of them that are still occurring, but how many historical events that we take as that they really happened are just another Mandela effect that we accepted, because we didn't know any different. Like the Black Tom thing, right? I'd never heard of the Black Tom explosion, even when they were talking about 9/11. Even when they were talking about 9/11, this is the worst thing ever on New York City, First time, of a huge terror attack like this on New York. You'd figure somebody would go, oh, well, wait, there was the Black Tom explosion. It damaged the fucking thing. It would have measured 5 on the Richter scale.
Well, there was another thing I was thinking. This thought occurred to me, right? You know how like you have instances of deja vu and stuff like that. I mean, like, I've had a lot of those types of experiences, but what if, how we're like, where is everybody? Why are there so many? Like, if everybody was unemployed because of the pandemic, and then now that's over with, right? And why are there so many jobs open and stuff, right? What if there's a whole bunch of people that we do not remember?
Dude, a friend of mine here in Stanley, and this was a couple years ago, he was telling me about this, and we were talking about some of these Mandela things, you know, and other freaky shit. And he said twice now, he said, I've seen two people that I know died. He saw them alive. And
well,
I'm like,
do you see what I'm saying? Like, so what if like entire like strings of people and all of their associations, like what if it was kind of like some Infinity War shit where Thanos just snapped the gloves, right? But no, but beyond that, like our recollection of these people is also gone. What if you could have had like a very good friend of yours that you had been friends with for years, and then like and you don't remember him or his family or anything like that, right? And then like all it would take is like some sort of nostalgic trigger, and then all of a sudden you could be like, why does it seem like I used to have a friend? You get what I'm saying? Like I just get the feeling like that's not beyond the realm of possibility. Like there could be like a whole shitload of people that we just do not remember, like a massive memory wipe.
What I'm starting to see in some of this shit though is there's patterns, and I believe there's some kind of a message within these patterns. I really do. You know, the instance of a lot of things turning black that were white before. The candles on the stage when Nirvana did Nirvana Unplugged on MTV, right? Everybody watched that, and they had these white candles all on the stage. They're black now. Nancy Sinatra and These Boots Are Made for Walking video, right? Her dress is black, but on the album cover, she's wearing the white vinyl dress that everybody remembers. Britney Spears, Baby Hit Me One More Time, right? She's got the little schoolgirl outfit, right? With the plaid dress. It's no longer a plaid dress. It's black. So there's something to do with black. Paint It Black by the Stones is now I want it painted black instead of I want to paint it black. It used to be I see a red door and I want to paint it black. Now it's I want it painted black.
See, in my memory, it's weird. It could go either way with that one. I know I've listened to that song since I was a teenager, and it's weird because I can see it being like I've never actually read the lyrics, so maybe it could have been I want it painted black. It seems like I remember it wanted painted black.
There's
and that's another thing. It's like
I just became aware of one by Bon Jovi today.
But you and I could be from different, you know what I mean? Maybe
like I said, Leanne worked at the health department all those years, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, she worked there when they implemented HIPAA laws.
No, I know. I'm from HIPAA. I know about HIPAA. Yeah.
So is it HIPPA or is it HIPAA?
I thought it was something completely different. No.
Health Insurance Patients Privacy Act is what I always knew it as, right? HIPPA. But she swears up and down it's always been HIPAA. And that's what you'll find now.
Mm-hmm.
And the word privacy in those initials is gone.
Huh.
And that's what the whole thing is about. Is about the private.
Seems like there would be privacy, right? Yeah, but right. I never really seen HIPAA written, so I can't speak on.
So
that.
She swears one way, and I swear the other. You know, and yet she knows about the Tinkerbell. That's another thing. Bells.
Yeah, no, I remember Tinkerbell.
Okay, yeah. Well, that never happened.
No, I know.
And her name is now Tinker Space Bell. There's something about these bells. Pavlov. What did Pavlov do to the dogs to make them salivate?
Yeah, he rang a bell, dinner bell.
Nope, not anymore. He used a metronome.
See, and it's weird because I have this dichotomy in my mind when you mention these things where it could have been either way. That's strange.
Okay, so there was a band in the 80s called Bell Biv DeVoe. It was BEL space BIV space DEVOE. Now it's BELL. So there's something about bells as well. That there's the bell from Pavlov is missing. Bell Biv DeVoe, Tinker Bell. There's other instances as well. So I'm like, what in the fuck is going on here with this? So I'm seeing little patterns involved in here. The removal of a T. And I think that's interesting because a T is reminiscent of a cross. So the T in the word tablets is gone out of Exodus. Now Moses brought down tables made of stone.
Yeah, that's weird.
Charles M. Schultz is now Charles M. Schulz with no T. I mean, there's some and other instances, but there was I just became aware of and it reminded me of this Mandela effect. The "Wanted Dead or Alive" song by Bon Jovi, right? It goes, the names have changed. Or it says they're all the same. Only the names have changed, right? Not now. Now it's only the names will change. And it's like, what do you mean they will change? It was have changed. That's different now. The Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? The city I live in, the city of angels. Now it's the city I live in, the city of angel.
You know what's weird?
And it's singular. What the fuck? It's Los Angeles, which means the angels.
I just decided to look this up, right? So I don't know if you know, like, so there's several books in a Catholic Bible that's different than in a
right. The NIV though, the NIV is changing like retroactively. It's like these changes first occurred in the KJV, right? And then they permeate now over into other versions like the NIV, the Catholic Bible.
Well, what I was going to say is that Catholic do include the stories. So I distinctly remember. So now it's part of the book of Daniel. But I remember in the Catholic Bible that Bell and the Dragon was its own book. No, it's not. It's part of, well, according to what I just researched, and I didn't do very much research, obviously, but I can't find where it's its own book anymore. But it was its own book in the Catholic Bible. I remember that. And there's Bel and the Dragon. And then you have the Wisdom of Solomon as another edition in the Catholic Bible. That's not in the Protestant or the Jewish Torah.
All right, so you see this one here changed. And it's the spelling, carcase. Over here, it says, for whosoever the carcase is, there will be the eagles be gathered together. That's vultures. Eagles don't do that. Eagles are predator animals. They're not they're not animals that eat dead bodies and shit. So that's not correct.
No, I seen the one you showed me earlier. That was
I was just I'm doing this so the audience can see some of these that are
what was the one earlier that you showed me where it was corn? It wasn't corn. It was grain. It was heads. It was
grain, right? I'll get to that one. It's this one here. It's shew me the tribute money, and they brought unto him a penny. Yeah, that wasn't even no such thing as a penny until like the early 1900s. Late 1800s. I mean, nobody had pennies. It was dinara or denarius, right?
Denarii, yeah.
So let me see. Where's that other one? Let's see.
This is an English penny.
This one right here. It's Matthew 12, the very first verse. It says, at that time, Jesus went on the Sabbath day through the corn, and his disciples were hungered and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat.
It's heads of grain, but what version was that with the penny in it?
That's KJV.
That's the KJV?
Yeah.
Is the original like the...
Yeah, there wasn't no pennies in 1611. I know that.
Well, there was 785 by King Offa, but why they wouldn't translate that to penny, because penny is a denomination of English currency. So...
in corn, what the fuck? I think somebody said there's like 6 different passages mentioning corn now.
That's strange.
I like this one here. Open up. It's Jesus. Better not have any gay Bud Light cans in there.
That was funny. Yeah, that was hilarious. I like that. Yeah. But people...
Fucked
but
up.
that, not to get off topic, but that Bud Light thing, it's things like that that give me hope, because people are now learning to vote with their dollar And if we could just now translate that to things that really matter outside of, I mean, this does, it matters to a certain degree because they're trying to push that shit on us from every angle. And, you know,
Matrix Soul Trap over here on Rumble said that Spider-Man, and this was another one, Spider-Man is now Spider-Man.
What the original? See, that's tough because I feel like it could
be.
It's
way. Like, is this? Hold on, I'll put him in here. Let's see, Spider-Man or Spider-Man.
Wonder if any of these changed.
There, see, those are the two difference. So let's see. He also was saying over here. Brian Stabley's over on my Rumble side too. I see over here. Oh lordy. So we got says the communists have been. Matrix Soul Trap said the communists have been implementing the protocols to a T for a long time worldwide. Yes, and I have to agree because Khrushchev actually said that they would never have to attack us. They would destroy us from the inside.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. They infiltrated Hollywood and they infiltrated our the two primary indoctrination centers, Hollywood and the public education system and universities. So, and then they introduced their communist ideas into young, impressionable generations. And mainly it's clever. It's like it says in Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, they get the women to advocate it and idealize it first, because then you can get the men to follow suit. They want to be what's attractive to women. It increases their chances of mating. So if you can teach women, if you can condition women on what to desire out of a man, you thereby change the next generation of men, because they're gonna conform to increase their chances of mating. Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars is a brilliant document. It's fucking scary how intelligent that shit is.
It is. Listen, I've been watching this shit go down for a long time. Listen, that same strategy is what Fox News used for a long time. Okay, they put on their info bimbos. Okay. And these were these hot, and they all look the same, these hot blonde bitches with big tits, right? And it was sort of like, oh, believe what I tell you. Well, look at my tits while I lie to you, you know? And it's like you're saying, the base male mind is going, if I believe pretty woman, she mate with me. Ugh, ugh. You know, I mean, that's what's going on in the base brain. And so they're more apt to listen to it. And they're, hey, it's easy on the eyes. I'll listen to whatever she's got to say. Hell, you know? Pretty soon you start believing it. And that's what I've said before. If you hang out in a barbershop long enough, you're going to end up with a fucking haircut, you know? That's what they've done. So they push it through the educational systems. Well, we saw where was the first amount of the whole hippie thing really took its hold on college campuses, which have become a bastion of Marxist ideals now, right? A lot of people don't know this, but the anti-war movement or hippie movement was actually started by young Republicans, you know, that they were like, look, we're hip people, but we're for some, and we're conservative ideas, but we're against this war. This is wrong, right? Well, it wasn't too long before it was people like Abby Hoffman.
It's hijacked, yeah.
It was hijacked by these commies, man.
Like anything else of substance, it's always hijacked. They take the minority and the underdog, and they use it to undermine the majority, and that's right out of their communist textbook. They do it all the time. They're selling oppression to minority groups and getting them to hate the majority. There's nothing more unpopular that you could possibly be in society right now than a straight middle-aged white male. That's the worst thing you could be right now. You're just I was going to address Matrix Soul Trap over on Rumble said that Brian had posted some Spider-Man residue in the TV guide. I showed some of that inadvertently. He pointed it out to me because one of my thumbnails, I pulled up this thing and it had the thing for the Berenstein Bears in the TV guide. And then Brian messaged me and goes, there's more residue in that TV guide. Look at Spider-Man. And I was like, no shit. There it was without the hyphen, but apparently it's always had the hyphen now. But in this TV guide, I think I got the picture. Let me see if I can find it.
I'm pretty sure.
If people just realize like how this is being done and why it's being done is through the banking system. That is the enemy. Like everything, the only reason they've been able to amass the power that they have to even do half the shit that they're capable of doing. And people, like I've said a million times, they don't learn the law. You look at the 60s and what was going on with the Vietnam War and the counterculture and all that stuff. It was intentionally interesting. How you know that's...
See, here's the Berenstain Bears, but here's in a TV guide.
Yeah, but where did this photo come from?
It was one I pulled up off of Google or one of my browser things, just looking for Mandela effect things. And I was like, oh, that's cool. There's it spelled in the TV guide, but inadvertently, and you can see that's what they're pointing out is that here's the way we remember it, and up here is how.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd be interested in actually finding
look up here.
TV guide.
There's Spider-Man with no hyphen listed too, and that's not even part of this. That's not even what they're showing in this whole meme.
Yeah.
So it was like a secondary little bonus of residue that's there. That's what we find is this residue all over the place. People say we're switching timelines and shit like that, but if that were true, then there wouldn't be any residue.
I don't think it's switching timelines at all. I think it's something different. Let's see, Tobey Maguire. Let's see what that one, because was that one spelled like that? Yeah, they got the hyphen. No, it could have been though. See, it's weird.
Like even the word dilemma. Now I know that was spelled with an N in it because I would purposely mispronounce that word in order to spell it right. Dilemma. Nope. Now it's never been that. It's 2 M's. And I'm like, no, that's not correct. That can't be. You know, and that's like, I always did little tricks like that for words, you know, so I'd spell them correctly, you know, and that was definitely one. I would mispronounce it in my mind, say dilemma, and you would spell it correctly. Not now. I'm also going to put the Rumble link down here in the chat. Those of you that want to follow us over there here in a little bit, that's exactly where we're going to go so that you can also subscribe to my channel over there. If you just now joining us, that's one. Yeah, see there, Little Man 39. That's how I remember it being spelled, but apparently that's incorrect and it's never been spelled like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to put that down there so that people can get to my Rumble channel and we can get some more people over there. I think we've got 6 watching over there right now. Hopefully when we cut here, everybody can go ahead. I'll put the link in again before we cut, because then we can talk about some of the shit about, and Ryan's got some really good information about some of the shit behind the jibby jab and some of the skullduggery surrounding events of the last 3 years that is going to be kind of interesting. And I think everybody get a hoot out of that. And it feels really good to be able to say whatever the fuck you want. And speaking of which, here comes our friend Flow State. Speaking of,
what's up, big dog?
I don't know, Dalai Lama. Are you wanting any kids to be sucking on your tongue?
Depends on how cute they are.
God damn, can you believe that shit, man?
Dude, that's so fucking skin crawly. It makes my skin crawl.
It doesn't surprise me.
It would, but that's like the last person you would think.
But not really. Not once you like catch on to things.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Basically, anybody at the top of an institution is probably a problem.
Well, there's that sect of those organizations that are involved with like the Dalai Lama, or say like even Mahatma Gandhi and the Theosophical organization, are very left-hand path type of organizations. They're, you know, like Mahatma Gandhi, for instance, he married his wife when she was 12. Kasturbai was her name, and she was 12 years old. Yeah, and he was also very, very abusive towards his family. People don't realize they remember him for his ahimsa, nonviolence philosophy, which was really just to pacify and pacify civilizations to make them ripe for takeover. You know, so he's supposed to be like this peaceful spiritual leader, and he was actually a freaking monster. Yeah, he's a monster. And those organizations, like I said, it doesn't surprise me when I seen that about the Dalai Lama, because they're very, you know, they're left hand for sure.
Well, it's everybody. I don't know. This is what it's looking like to me. I mean, if I was like observing, which I do, I'm pretty much like, I feel like an observer from afar, but also close enough to be able to see the shit too. And it's like, what the fuck? Everybody's gay. And if they're not gay, they're a transvestite of some kind or another, and we have to be in the same bathrooms together, and that's uber important for some reason.
I just want to be a furry. Okay.
Well, if you look at it like that, the ultra wealthy in society have always like given a hand up to. They've always been kind of like weird like that. You can go all the way back to ancient Sparta and the wealthy patriots. So like what they don't teach you about the badass Spartans, right, was that school that everybody's seen 300, that school that they were learning how to fight and all that stuff in. Well, that costs a lot of money, right? And so these boys would usually have wealthy patrons from Greece who, in exchange for their patronage and paying for the kids' warrior schooling, would take liberties with his little butt, you know. Yeah. So
get a little yum.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much, you know, kind of always been their thing all throughout history.
On the tapes of Nixon, you know, the famous the tapes in the White House, he had that recording system. On one of those, man, he was talking about, he says, that's just exactly how those Greeks went. They went all homo, and look what happened to their country, you know, their civilization. And I mean, he said that shit straight up right there in the Oval Office. You know, he didn't figure anybody's ever going to hear that, but
it's like Stephen Colbert. I did hear that. It was funny. And like the Stephen Colbert, when he comes out, he goes, good evening, godless sodomites. Right. Well, they're even this same group of people have like been rearing their head all throughout history. And it usually is preceding some sort of societal collapse because of it. Do you know what I mean? They've always tried to, like Sodom. I mean, look what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, God sent some angels down to see if, you know, and whatever they were, if you want to think they were aliens or whatever the case may be, but they come down and they want to see if there's any good people in the town. So Lot takes them into his house. And what are the people of the town trying to do? They start banging on Lot's door. Like, hey, we seen those dudes come into your house. Send them out here so we can fuck them.
Yeah.
Bring out that fresh butt pussy.
Well, the worst part is he said, no, here, have my daughters instead.
Well, right. But here's the thing, though, is like, you know, them angels were like, nah, dude, this town's done. Like they already want to bang us. But no, we just got
I think
here.
That was a good call.
Yeah, we just got here. We haven't even sat down for dinner, nothing. And these dudes want to bang us in the butt. Like, let's go ahead and get to destroying this place.
I know.
But it's the same shit. It's happened over and over and over again throughout history. Like you have the rise of this homo shit and then some sort of calamitous downfall of society.
It's usually how it goes, man. It's in fact, I mean, that story's in there for a reason, you know. Learn from it, you know, learn from it. And this is absolutely the case. And it shows that when I guess they get you to run out of your whole thought process out of pathos at the expense of logos, you see. And they do this with everything. Like, this is why nobody's going in and shooting up a Dunkin' Donuts, right? Nobody's going in and shooting up any place. No, they're going into a school. Why? Because the innocent children, that's going to enrage you. You see, that's just like the propaganda stories that they ran during any war. Okay. They told us that the Japanese were using Chinese babies for bayonet practice. Okay. They told us the Iraqis were throwing little babies out of the fucking incubators out on the floor in the hospital and shit. And nobody was really doing any of this, but the thought of that will enrage the average man to a point where he'll go, oh, the protector thing kicks in and he wants to fucking kill. You see?
You know, what else
even you got to think about this from a logical standpoint, right? even your most hardened fucking violent criminals don't want to go kill a bunch of kids because they're the first ones that'll kill a fucking chomo in the prison.
Oh, listen, no, I know that for a fact. Yeah, they
so this is fake. This shit is fake.
Even criminals have a code. You know what I mean? And there are crimes for like criminals.
I would say criminals have more of a code than non-criminals, in my experience.
You'd be surprised.
Kind of a self-serving opinion, I suppose.
No, I mean, it depends on what you like. Even people,
because you have to go by. You have to know your place.
There are some things that everybody considers, just heinous. No matter who you are, or what your background is, or what you might have done. You know what I mean? Like you might have, murdered somebody that, robbed you or wronged you or owed you money. You might be a mobster or something, right? You might, but still there's things that they are like, oh, dude, that's fucked up. And we're not going to be a part of that, That's but you know what else they don't find at schools? What else? Another reason why they pick schools? Because it's a gun-free zone. So they're guaranteed not to get shot back at. Right?
Well, so's Walmart, though.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, it's supposed to be. They say that you're not supposed to take no guns, so I bet
I always carried it in Walmart.
I do too.
I mean, I did when I had guns, but I just don't remember that. I guess they sell bullets, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I don't know. I haven't checked in a while. I mean, they
do. It's mostly like 308
every time I've been in
shotgun
there.
shells and 22 LR. That's all they got at Walmart.
Yeah, I try to stay out of Walmart because I'm afraid that I'll be inside when they convert it to a FEMA camp, the siren goes off and the doors lock and that's it. I'm fucked,
The no windows is a dead giveaway. It's like,
yeah.
They're not going to do that till they got robots running the whole fucking thing.
They already got one of those. They got the, have you seen them floor cleaners they got?
Yeah, I have.
They got Elon Musk.
They're at Sam's Club. Those fucking things just go around cleaning. They do a shitty job too.
So you ought to check out up here at JMU, James Madison University, there on the campus and shit. There's these little fucking robot carts that roll around all over the place delivering food.
I'm not. Students are so lazy.
I know, man. It's like, well, I'll tell you, one of the best ones they opened up. It was a college kids that got the idea and opened up this business there right in Harrisonburg. We got 3 universities, right? We got Bridgewater College, Eastern Mennonite University, and James Madison University.
Eastern Mennonite University. I bet that place is a blast.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe actually. Well, you got to figure you got 3 colleges, and people smoking weed. Right. So these guys opened up a thing that they're open till 3:00 in the morning and they deliver, and it's called Campus Cookies. And they have like chocolate chip cookies and peanut butter cookies and shit. And, these guys are up studying, smoking weed at 11:30, 12:00 at night. It's like, man, I could go for a fucking cookie. Call that outfit up.
Oh, I assumed that they were THC cookies.
No, shit, no. No, they're just starting to get onto the idea that it's okay to smoke weed here,
That's outrageous. I would never suggest such a thing.
Well, see that, and that's the control people. It's the general populace. Listen, I met more people that smoke weed since I moved to the Shenandoah Valley than I ever met around Detroit. That's no shit. Okay. And I've been here 25 years, but the establishment has always been very, very harsh on it. Very harsh on it. I mean,
I think everything should be legal.
Oh yeah, well, it shouldn't be legal or illegal. It shouldn't have anything. I mean, for
yeah, that's what I meant.
Are carrots legal?
Yes.
Right. I mean, they don't have any kind of a fucking status as far as legality or anything is concerned. So that's what I say when people say
I think they have
make weed legal.
Like, legally, they're a tuber, I think.
No, they should. When they make it legal, it's just so they can tax it. And when it's illegal, it's so that they can make money off the black market of it. They shouldn't legislate it either way. They definitely shouldn't legislate it or say that it's wrong to smoke pot, which I don't personally smoke weed anymore, but that's just because I like to have more of a clear head these days. But they're going to say that it's wrong to smoke pot, but feed amphetamine to 5-year-old kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's having trouble paying attention. Here's some speed. Here's some shit that'll make you itch your face off and fucking create a lifetime.
Look how good this medicine works. He must have a disease.
Then they call it medicine.
It's the equivalent of a performance enhancement drug. Okay. And if you look at it the same way, like if you suck at sports and then you take steroids, okay, if you weren't very good and then you take steroids and you get better, it wasn't that you had a problem. It's just that you weren't any good at sports. Okay. Right. So you didn't cure a problem. All you did was take an enhancement. And that's the same thing they're doing with these kids. Most of them being diagnosed for being fucking 9-year-old kids. 9-year-old boys, especially boys don't want to sit in a fucking room and listen to somebody yammer on for 7 hours.
Adults don't want to do that shit. Nobody does.
No, but they make it unpleasant like that. So you'll have, you won't want to engage in any kind of learning activity after you escape that fucking prison complex.
Exactly. I think, or I hope that someday we'll look back and go, well, that was child abuse.
Oh, God, yes. In the lies. I mean, I completely
in an industrious society, the idea of a community education system is a good one. It just needs to be run by the parents who have children going to that.
Parents are lazy, though. It needs to not be compulsory.
Well, that's the whole thing, is that parents are lazy is the biggest problem. It's not just lazy, but the banks have made economic conditions as such that both parents generally have to work, which leaves the child occupationally orphaned to be raised by television and government institutions. So, it's kind of, and then of course the parents have been successively dumbed down from one generation to the next because the curriculum becomes more and more watered down. You know that like Latin and philosophy and like the arts were all common curriculum in the 1800s in these community schools. Or, and by community school, I don't mean state-run school or anything like that. I mean that people, so you get together and you guys all decide that education. So we come together, we pay for it, we figure out who are we going to have teach it and what are they going to be taught, what's prudent to know in order to get along in the law, history, foreign languages, right?
Economics,
philosophy, these things, mathematics, grammar and writing. These things are all what we should be learning. That's not, that's not what we have happening. The history that is taught is false. It's not even jaded. It's patently false history. Yeah. It's fucking wrong. It's wrong. It's not what happened.
We got 3 kids in middle school and 1 in high school. So I'm familiar with that shit.
And they don't teach you law at all. They say ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking, but they don't teach you law. They don't even teach you that there's a difference between law and code. You know what I mean? They don't teach you about contracts. They don't teach you. Everybody as part of their curriculum should be learning legalese, the language of law. You should know what words mean and the concepts that they represent as it pertains to law in your daily life. Then the idea of registering your shit would have a whole different connotation to it. The idea of going to get a license to exercise any sort of liberty, whether it be to fucking fish or to travel down the road,
right,
would have a whole different connotation to it. But what we're under is English occupation. We got these pirates that are pillaging the estates that people don't even know that they have, so that the politicians can get rich off of it. You know what I mean? It's the backbone of our entire securities and exchange system is your debt slavery, and people have no idea about it at all. They don't even realize, well, we got to go get Junior a birth certificate. Why? What do you mean? We got to go register Junior with the state, with the county clerk, right?
Yeah, right.
That's what it is. And they're fucking pirates. They're illegitimate. There's no constitutional law that said that these motherfuckers could come in and take over our entire system. There's no law against you being able to it's your unalienable right to be able to practice law and defend yourself. Like, that is a fundamental natural right. And these fucking bar pirates come in and tell everybody that they got to go through them to learn anything. And lawyers don't know fuck all about law anyways. They just know court procedure, decorum. Yep. But I digress.
They know procedure. They don't know law. That's absolutely true. That's
why no idea about law. They just know how to file a motion and what to say to the judge and what not to say and how to
do your plea deals.
Yeah. All they do is escort you and speak for you to help you get fucked in the courtroom, to help you get, you know what I mean? They lube it up for you is what they do. It's all horseshit. To attorn anything is to convey the right of property from one person to another. So when you hire an attorney, you're basically hiring somebody to give your shit away for you and to speak for you. That's what it means. Black Law Dictionary. It's what the fuck it means.
I just bought the 3rd and 4th edition at Half Price Books for $12 and $15 respectively.
That's actually a phenomenal deal.
Because the 4th one on Amazon is going for $400.
Yeah, I bet, because that's one of the good ones with all the definitions. See, and that's what they do with each successive law dictionary too. They don't change the definitions because you cannot change the definitions. You cannot. That's what people don't realize about law dictionary. You cannot change what words mean because it changes contracts that have been in effect for centuries. So you can't change the definition of words. So what they do is they omit the definition or the full definition, or they try to paint it in a different, like in only one context of how it would apply in a situation that has nothing to do with you. And that's what by the time you get to the 11th edition, you've got the fucking UCC dictionary that doesn't tell you shit. But I'm digressing again. I could talk forever on this show.
Talk.
I do at great lengths sometimes. It's it's basically that's what it is that bar attorneys, their bar cards are letters of marque and reprisal issued by the corporate United States on behalf of Britain to pillage your estates. They deal with you as Trading with the Enemy Act, under Trading with the Enemy Act. And their whole purpose is to administer the bankruptcy through licensing statutes and codes. And so what people don't realize is the entire underpinning of our currency is debt security. So when I say terms like this, people don't know what they mean. It means it's debt. It's promises to pay. We don't have actual money anymore, especially not constitutional money. And all of these debt securities are backed by your indentured servitude and the compliance enforcement that the police provide, that you are going to go register your property, that you are going to apply for a license, that you are going to do these things so that they can create attachments. Courts are banks. It's this simple. Courts are banks. They issue their own unregistered securities and they trade them in their private judges associations. Every time a bond is issued, right, that's the same. It's not the same exact thing, but it's a piece of commercial paper like a Federal Reserve note that has a monetary value that they can then sell at an original issue discount to private investors who collect on the bond or who collect on the ticket or whatever it is that the court issues. They sell this commercial paper to private investors. So the whole name of the game is to create an attachment to your trust estate in order to generate commercial paper and exchange it for profit. They're pirates. There's no other way to put it. That's not a perspective. That's not they are literally pirates.
I'm going to address a couple over here in the Rumble chat. Unindoctrinated said, first he said, nobody goes into a school and murders children. I got to believe that as well, too. And he also said the reason children don't pay attention in class is because their soul is telling them everything they're being taught is bullshit. And maybe there's something to that. I got Matrix Soul Trap on here. He says, every U.S. citizen is classified as a belligerent enemy combatant. What do you think of that?
I mean, that sort of describes me, I think, like my personality, at least.
What did he say?
He said that every U.S. citizen is classified as a belligerent enemy combatant.
That's the Trading with the Enemy Act as amended after 1933. Every U.S. citizen is a belligerent enemy combatant. It's very simple. Why? Is because your property was unlawfully mortgaged in 1933. I've went over this many times on this channel and my own channel. It's March 9th, 1933, page 83, House Congressional Record, second paragraph on the left-hand column says that the dollar represents a mortgage on the homes and all of the other property of the people of the nation. So as long as a Federal Reserve note is issued, there's a mortgage on your property rights, what that means is whenever a mortgage is created, there's a split title. Okay, the person who gives the loan gets the beneficial title to the property that's put up as collateral, which is you and your children and everything that you own. And then you get a legal title. And what the legal title means is that you're allowed to use the property for the benefit of the person who has the equitable title, which is the beneficial title. And because they unlawfully, that was an act of war. And it actually goes back even a little bit further than that. Every state in this country was a Confederate state. It says in Penhallow v. Stone's Administrators, it says that when a union is Confederate, not corporate, sovereignty resides within the state. So the union itself as an entity has always been corporate. That's why it had limited powers. The union was just the United States and Congress assembled. It was a group of representatives of the states, and it was a corporation with very limited powers. The states themselves are also corporations, but they're given sovereign power directly by the people. Not to bore people with this shit, because I lose people with this, but what happened during the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation, which was nothing more than an executive order or a mandate, right? Lincoln expanded federal jurisdiction. He declared war on the Confederate States. Now, people think that Confederate States just means the Southern states. It does not. Every state in the Union is a Confederate state because the Articles of Confederation created the states. When you go to the Constitution, it starts off talking about states. Well, you need a document that created the states. The Articles of Confederation didn't go anywhere. It was built upon. All of the states are Confederate states. Michigan's a Confederate state when it was created. Ohio, New Jersey, Delaware, every state in this country is a Confederate state. And what you have in the Civil War is this corporation declaring war on the several states. And you got some of these dumbass states that would have what we would equate to modern day liberals who decided that was a good idea, not realizing they were giving away their own sovereignty. So they decided to join the Union. And then even after the Civil War and the Union won and decided to establish federal supremacy through the 14th Amendment, 15 of the then 36 states, including northern states like Ohio and New Jersey, vetoed the 14th Amendment. They did not. They refused it. They rejected the 14th Amendment. So over half of the states in existence rejected the 14th Amendment because it placed everybody under the arbitrary legislation of Congress, that everybody had to rewrite their constitutions, and then everybody had to conform to the revised statutes of the United States. That's why even northern states rejected the 14th Amendment. So after the 14th Amendment, now everybody is citizens of a corporation. Before the 14th Amendment, you were like I would be a Michiganian. My dad would be a Virginian. Okay, you down
Virginia?
Yes, I'm a Virginia. Well, yeah, I am what I eat. You know what they say.
I would be a Michiganian. That was our nationality. If you even look at how the Civil War is set up, each state conscripted its own military because they were their own nation. So we were our own nations. After the Civil War, after the 14th Amendment was ratified, everybody became subject to this corporation. So then after the establishment of the Federal Reserve and ultimately the bankruptcy, when they mortgaged everybody's property, they turned you into a federal employee, a trust company. Now you're a trust company and a corporation, because you as a living person, as I couldn't as a Michiganian use anything but gold or silver as legal tender in the payment of debts. It's Article 1, Section 10. Right. So the way that they circumvented this is by turning everybody into a trust company and a federal franchise through the birth certificate and your social security number. Now you represent a trust estate of a living person who is presumed missing, or who is missing and presumed dead. So that the United States Treasury has control. And then none of this is a conspiracy theory. I can prove all of this with authoritative documents.
Right.
Okay. Congressional records.
There's a question down here that is addressed to you by Emilios, man. He says, what's your suggestions to start in learning the actual law besides Black laws and Dr. Graves's course?
I don't know who Dr. Graves is. Black's Law, I would just stay away from, unless you have like a 3rd and 4th edition like he has. But still, I would say what you need to do, first of all, you're on the right track. You need to learn the language. You need to learn the language of the law and the way law is set up. Okay. And to do that, you got to read our founding documents, because when you read our founding documents, you understand the mentality of things. So like, I'll give you a perfect example. In the Constitution, Article 3, Section 2 says that the court has jurisdiction in all cases of law and equity. Okay, so most people would just read over that and say, okay, law and equity. Well, what that tells you is that there's a difference between law and equity. Okay, law is law. Okay, so to break the law requires a living victim. It requires a victim. Okay, and beyond that, law cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be recognized. Equity arises from contracts. So anything that has to do with equity is discussing the terms and whether or not there was a breach of contract. So now you fast forward to today and you've got Code of Federal Regulations Rule 2. Okay, the CFR Rule 2, which says one form of action, equity. So what they did was they eliminated all, right there, that tells you, they eliminated all of our courts of law. And now we only have courts of equity that deal in contract, because everything is contract. It's either a violation of contract. So when you get brought to court, you're being charged with a breach of your trust indenture, okay, under the mortgage of 1933. You're not being actually charged with a crime. You're being charged with a breach of your trust indenture as a trust company, okay? And your body is the surety, okay, for the case, for the ruling, for the bonds to be generated. When they issue a bond, they're using your living person as surety in order to issue that bond, and your projected labor or future performance of obligations to secure the debt, so that they can then turn around and sell that bond, because that's what they do. They sell these tickets and bonds in their private associations to institutional investors. So back to your original question, what to do?
Yeah.
You learn history and you learn law. Now, the law, in order to understand what's being said in our documents, in our founding documents, you need to
know the words.
A Bouvier's Law Dictionary, 1856, is one of the best ones. It was adapted to the Constitution. In fact, if you look up
say that again.
Bouvier's 1856 law, it's called a law dictionary adapted to the Constitution and laws of the United States. Bouvier, John Bouvier's 1856, a dictionary adapted to the laws, or adopted to the Constitution and laws of the United States. And it's in 1856. You'll find some curious things about legal concepts just even reading that dictionary. Like, for instance, charge. You look up, so everybody knows when you get arrested, you're charged, right? So if you get arrested for a crime, you're charged with a crime. Well, interesting thing is, in that dictionary, charge means to render an estate responsible for the performance of an obligation. And it only applies to contracts. That's what a charge is, right? So a charge in common law is when two litigants are going back and forth about a case or whatever, about a series of events in front of the jury, and one of the litigants says something that applies to law. The judge's responsibility was to stop the proceeding and point out for the jury's benefit how that applies to precedent case law, right? It doesn't mean you were guilty of it. It doesn't, that was his only responsibility. He's kind of like a referee. You know what I mean? To use his knowledge of the law to be able to inform the jury of how, if that happened, it applies to this certain instance. But the charge as it's used nowadays only applies to contracts, and it's to render an estate responsible for the performance of an obligation. That's what a law, or that's what a charge is. So you have to understand that all of this is all under, you're a debt slave. You can't own property. You know why you cannot own property? Because you don't have money. Well, you're like, well, I got $1,000. I got $100,000 in my bank account. No, you have $100,000. You have 100,000 debt notes. You have 100,000 debt securities, promises to pay. They're obligations owed by the United States to pay at some future unspecified date. And just like any other contract, that's why there's two signatures on a dollar. You have the treasurer and you have the secretary of treasury, both those signatures, because that dollar itself is a contract. And all it represents is a promise to pay. And that's why fiat, it's fiat currency, it's faith currency, it's based on faith and trust. So the way that they back this is by ensuring your compliance to the administration of the bankruptcy, which all of these courts from the district on up are not United States courts. They're English courts of equity. It says it right in the Code of Federal Regulations, one form of action, equity.
So Yeah, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit here and start getting into some of the stuff we're going to talk about, because I'm going to cut the YouTube stream here in just a minute.
Okay, feel free.
Because I want to go over. I'm going to cut it. We're going to go over to Rumble, which we're already at. I'm going to cut YouTube because I really want to get into some of these events of the last 3 years, Ryan. I know you've got a lot of good information on that shit too that you've looked into. Mm-hmm. There's also a Mandela effect involved with the Holocaust. If you remember,
I like that one.
Dr. Judy Mikovits, now her name no longer has the Z in it anymore, you know, so that's gone. We're being joined by John Thomas here. Chuck in Tennessee, we'll talk
what's going on, brother. Hold on, I got shit open.
All right. Chuck in Tennessee, we can definitely talk about that when we get over on the other stream. We don't have to worry about any jackasses rolling in, so we'll definitely bring that up, maybe come up on the panel. I'm going to put the link over to Rumble in the chat here a couple more times, and then I'm going to cut it here in about another probably 5 or 10 minutes so that we can just freely talk over on Rumble. How are you doing tonight, Mr. John Thomas?
Oh, not too bad. You forgot about Skipper's black hat. Remember you were saying things changing to black.
Yeah. What are you who are you talking about? The skipper on what, Gilligan's Island?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that when his hat changed to black.
Yeah, to black. Yeah, it looks funny, man.
Oh,
you haven't seen that?
No, I haven't.
You got to take a look at it. Yeah, put that up. See what you think of that.
Let me see.
When I seen it, I said no.
Skipper Gilligan. There we go. Wow, it came right up. Let me see. Let's go to images. Holy shit! Yeah, it does look dumber than hell.
It looks weird, man.
Let me present
like
that.
A few different colors.
Because me and my dad used to watch that. We'd smoke weed and watch Gilligan's Island. My dad sit there and go, "God damn, don't let the little guy fucking help, man. Jesus Christ."
Yeah. Hey, that's.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't know there was one. Yeah, that's. And they have costumes. There's residue of people with costumes for Gilligan. You know, Halloween.
Yeah. Let's see if
it's all like white hats and stuff.
Let's go with costume and see what they can offer us. Oh, he's got black hats. Here's somebody doing the whole Gilligan parody for a costume party with the white hat.
Yeah, I've never seen a captain's hat that you wouldn't think that's supposed to be representative. That's like an
airliner.
Well, maybe if they was a different country or something, I don't know, like
Germany,
Poland or something,
or Germany. Of course, I think the German Navy officers wear white hats too. It's hard for me to, because the reason I jumped on Germany is because there's a huge German connection to a lot of this shit as well. You know, even up to and including names like Charles Schultz. That's a German name, but the T's missing now, and it's Schulz. You know, so
yeah,
there's a lot of shit going on. The Germans attacking, blowing up, you know, the Statue of Liberty and shit in the 1916. I'm like, what?
I had something to add about the Budweiser thing too, but it might be good to wait till you switch.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Well, let's go ahead and I'm going to put did I put the link in here for Rumble? I'm going to put it in here a couple more times. If you can't find it, it's in the description to this video. Because YouTube's a bunch of bitches and they make me have to either be on for 2 months or send some kind of verification. They won't let me put hyperlinks in my description for some reason, but I got the link in there so you can highlight it and put it in your browser and you should get over there. That's where we're getting ready to go to. I'm going to kind of give it a second so I can go take a pee after I cut the YouTube side. I'm going to play a music video and then we'll come right back. That'll give people time to get over there. So I'm hoping everybody that's over here on the YouTube side.
Are you saying there's a Holocaust Mandela effect?
No, not that I know of.
I didn't mean to.
No, not that I know of. When I said Holocaust, I was referring to the epidemic of the last 3 years. There's similarities. But, so Yeah, we'll go ahead and we're going to do that. We'll go ahead and cut this right now and take us a pee break. And let me see. We're going to say goodnight to YouTube and your censors. Piss off. Everybody else, hope to see you over on the Rumble side. See you over there. YouTube, eat a bag of dicks. Okay. Let's make sure that that's gone before we go any further. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's dead. Hang on. Let's double check. Reboot. No, I think we're still on. God damn it. Hold on. Hang on. Remove. There it goes.